Now this demonstration is, we don't use pencil for the sketching part. Yes, that's one of the most amazing thing. We don't use pencil for the sketching. What we use is, we use the lightest color of the same object. Like for example, if you're making any particular fruit, you can simply use this. I'll just show you. I'm making a circle here. I have created a basic object like this. I'll just show you the demonstration. The demonstration is, this is a printout which I am using right now. Always have a printout because it helps you a lot to understand how it works. Okay, I'm using both Soft Pastels, sorry, and I'm just going to carve this, and this particular area belongs to another circle. I'm not filling the colors, and there is something which is green kind of thing which is here. Like something like this, and there is a leaf which is here. So always see that we start with straight lines. Why do we start with straight lines? Always remember, because straight lines are easy to measure. Okay, if you draw any sketch with straight lines, it's very easy to measure. It helps you to get the right drawing. Something like this, and I'll be using a brown color for this way. For sketching is the most important thing. Now many of you must be thinking, can we sketch with pencil? It's your choice. If you think that you want to do it with pencil, you can just do it. Now I'm going to create a ground line. So for ground line, I can just create a line with this, because I don't want to make it very dark. And for ground line, you can just create something very maybe like light green or something grayish. So I'll just use a light green just to complement the color. The background will be black. Okay, so you can see this is the primary process of drawing. The primary process. When I'm talking about the primary process, that means I'm just talking about the sketching part. Now let's move. Like in sketching also, there are primary, secondary, tertiary. In application of color also, there is primary, secondary, tertiary. The word primary means first in order. The word secondary means second in order. The word tertiary means the third in order. Okay, so this was just the primary. Now I'm going to take little bit dark color, and always make sure that you have a cloth which you can use for wiping. Like I have this one which I basically use for wiping. I'll just keep it here so that you can simply use it this way. Now the secondary layer, I'm going to make sure that my sketch is better here. And you can just see that how I'm working with it. This particular sketch is little bit easy as compared to other sketches, and this will be little bit longitude here. It goes this way. Another sketch starts from here. And you can just say that spherical objects are one of the most difficult objects when it comes to the drawing and painting part. Now when it comes to these leaves, I'm going to take green color, dark green. And I'm going to create this curve. You can just see the curve. Okay. And when it comes to the connecting part, I can simply go with this brown, like this way. Always remember that when you follow the process, most of the things are settled. Okay, now we also need to plan the shadows. Okay, Now when it comes to the shadows, remember that the light is hitting from the left side, so the shadows are going to be on the right side. Okay, so now for the shadow I cannot use a very dark color, because when you use black in a painting, that means most of the scope is finished. Means you will never understand that dark is dark and the light is light. Okay, so what I'm planning here to do is I'll just simply take a gray color, a very light gray color, and I'll just mark the shadow something like this. And for shadow now, always make sure that first you sketch it in the air, something like this, and you just touch it in a specific area. Like the light is coming from here, so it's going this way, and this thing also has a shade here. This is a very small flower, and here also there is a shadow, and it goes on the top. Okay, the top area. This angle we can decide it later. Now when it comes to the primary layer of coloring, so what color do you see the maximum? That is what matters a lot. Like in this, which particular color do you see the maximum? And that is the same color which I'm going to apply here. So here I'll be applying deep cadmium yellow. Now I'm not following any specific method, but most of the times I'll be following the most famous method, which is known as layering and blending, where I'll be starting any drawing with impasto, and people use white to do it, like but here we can plan to leave some white. We can leave some white in the beginning, so that we don't have to struggle a lot with some colors. Okay, now watch, as I'm applying the colors, I'm also making sure that I'm following the direction of the object. Something like this. We always work with background at the end, because you may smudge. Always make sure that your palm is always clean. If it is not clean, go and wash it. That's the simplest thing. Okay, now this particular part is left here. Then I'll be going towards a darker tone, which is like a little bit of, we can say, maybe let me just go with a lighter tone. I'll just apply some lemon yellow, and you can see now the colors are blending itself in a particular area. There's a part of orange, or maybe like dark yellow, which is here, which is known as dark chrome yellow. Dark chrome yellow, I'm going to use it at this particular part. You can see it's a little bit darker than the basic yellow. Just keep applying the colors, because you may see that a lot of colors are there which I'm using, but above all, understand the basic coloring is important. So now you can see this is known as the filling of local colors, where I have filled the local colors. Just blow some air so that you are able to understand the basics, like where do you have applied the color. Right now at this point, I'll be just blending these colors so that I get the right color. You can see I'm cleaning this with a cloth here. Okay, and now I'll be using it to blend, and I'm blending it with some textures. And while I'm blending this, you can also see that the colors are going inside the first layer of the page. You may leave white or you may apply white. That's your individual choice. We don't force anyone to use or leave. People have made some laws in watercolors and some other mediums that you shouldn't use this color, that color. That is your perfection wala part, whether you want to use it or not. Okay, now you can see that the primary layer is done here, and you can understand the local colors. Now I'll also color this particular part, but before I color this particular part, remember that there is a shaded region which is here, which separates this object and this object. So I'm going to just separate the objects. That is very important. And this also becomes one of the color which I'm going to apply. You can see that the movement of my hand is in all the direction. This particular shadow is known as core shadow. Core shadow is formed when you see that the light is hitting on this part, and on this part it's a reflected light, so it follows the core shadow. I already have a video on spear and core shadow, so you can just look for it and it will help you to understand that on what principles we are making this object. You can just see I've applied. Now once I've applied this, again I'm going to take it and I'm going to blend it. So this method, that means every layer you have to blend it very well. The better you blend, you will understand that you are getting the realism look. I'm just going to mix it very well. And once you see that the background is there, so it will look amazing. Okay, now moving to the next color, I told you that here there are a series of brown, so I can just go with a darker one and start working with it. Now this one is like separating most of the things in our artwork. But make sure that whatever things you like, do not start using in abundance, otherwise it will not look good in your painting. Now I've just used this much and I'll be blending it again. Make sure that whatever blending method you are using or whatever blending tool you are using, it's always clean. Like you can see every time I'm cleaning it on the left side here, because it's very important. And it's giving a roundity. Something like this. It works very well. I can see that the primary layer of the page is already filled here. So now whatever I'll be doing here, you will be able to see the proper colors which are working in all these areas. Now all the colors which I'll be applying here, they're going to be very visible here. Some part of yellow. Keep blowing some air in between so that it doesn't smudge with the other color. You can see that layering, one color is overlapping the other one here, and you're trying to get the result. This is a lemon yellow color which I am. This is sufficient. I'll be moving towards some dark colors here. And as I'm moving, you can see that I'm using the contour method. Now I can just blend this one a little bit. It doesn't look that finished. You can just see this one. There's a part of orange which I see in the middle range. Now the more colors which you apply here, you see that your drawing is turning into some variation, and I also see some kind of lightest green in some part, in some areas. So I'm just going to touch it. It may not look realistic at this point, but after some time you'll understand that from where we started and where we are. You can see this. Make sure that your colors are around. I'll be moving towards the darkest. Now the core shadow part is left, which I'll apply after some time. Now when it comes to this particular object, this can be done with the Impasto method, so that you can just finish it very quickly. Like this. Impasto method, where you just apply without blending. Some part of orange is there. Now this becomes my primary object, so all my focus is going to be on this particular object. Impasto also looks very interesting method, like maybe we'll just come with some more tutorials based on Impasto method. Just see this. I'll apply some colors in the leaf area, leaf here. So I'm not sure whether it's the same green. Okay, this is the green which I used. So first I'll use the color here, something like this. Make sure that we are going to still apply more layers to our drawing. Something like this. Moving forward, I can just apply some dark color. So maybe like I can apply some brownish in the beginning. Do not apply black in the beginning. Some of you are like directly you apply black and you see ki you're not getting the result. Okay, black, we'll see what we have to do. Now when it comes to this particular stick part, which is the connecting, I can see some orange is there. Some part I can see some deep red is there. Somewhere I can see some darkest brown is there. This is also done with Impasto method. You can see that I'm getting this kind of effect here. Now when you see the leaf part and the other things, I can apply this darkest dark on this part to get the core shadow in the right way. You can also see that I'm just leaving some on the right part because that's the reflected light which I'm leaving here. No, somewhere here it is. This is just the touch-up part which I'm doing. So I could have done it in the end, but I'm just doing it as you're moving. You can just finish it so that you don't have to do some touch-up. Now I'm holding my pastel from this point and I'm just touching it so that I just apply it in the little bit part, little bit area. Something like this. I feel like I should apply some more green because this adds some beauty to my color. Something like this. Okay, now moving to the background and also moving to the shadow part. Now I can work with some black, which is going to help me to understand that what is the beauty of our object. Okay, and there is an object which is just passing on this particular part, so we'll see that. So starting from the top, I can simply apply some black. Now you also get some soft pastels in loose separate colors. just see the moment I'm adding this color to this part. You need to be very careful. You should be able to see what particular colors you are applying. Just you can see the beauty of the object, and I have still not finished. So whenever you try to complement the color, you'll understand that what kind of beauty you are trying to get. I can apply some dark in this leaf wala part. Which goes in the dark. I can just take some this and I can just smudge this black, because when the background is jet black, you'll understand the beauty of the object. You can simply overlap some pastel here so that it shouldn't look cut to cut, otherwise it will look like it's an cut paste object. So you can just see that I'm just overlapping some black on the object, so that is totally fine. That is totally fine. I can just go with some more dark shades here. This particular part has some dark shades. I can just blend some part of the leaves, and this white part is the highlight which I'm leaving here. So please see that I'm just going to lighten this area. Now you see that whenever you want to create some good effect of your painting, you should always understand the color theory. We have some workshops which will teach you more about the color theory. Something like this. When I move to the ground area, understand that all these areas are going to be dark. Because they are separating the object. So I'm just going to apply some dark colors here. Then I can go with some light green, as I said, which will complement my object. Don't try to use n number of colors whenever it's about the pastels. Try to make sure that your color composition is good so that it looks amazing. I can just take this black and try to blend it so that I can. Now these are two different colors which are trying to give me some, and now this you can see, if I try to take this and just try to, you can also take this and try to overlap little bit on the object because they are down here, so it gives more realism to the object. Including this one. Make sure that you share our page with others so that you all can learn. Now I'm just trying to conclude this with some basic shades Now remember that our object is bright, so if I use a very dark thing at the background, it's going to complement my drawing. You can see that I'm working with the shades. Now this shadow will maybe like it will just go beyond this one. That's not important for an artist to finish everything. You can just separate both the objects here with a very dark brown. Just give some darkest dark to the ground area so that my object is clear. This leaf is going to be very dark because the light is only falling in some particular part. Always remember that do not try to keep cut to cut lines, because some people try to just keep some proper cut to cut lines. If you do that, in that case you're losing the originality. And do not try to copy a pastel to pastel painting, because in that case you're doing nothing, you're just promoting the other artist who has already made. So if you want to do something your own, create your own. Do some photography and try to create, and you will see a different type of result in your painting. I'm just trying to add some beauty to my artwork, trying to create some basics. I can keep watching that how where we were in the beginning and where we have come. Now soft pastel seems to be a very difficult medium, but if you have the right teacher, you will be able to learn. Remember this. A right teacher can change your life. Simply add some orange too. I can make some areas here. This is an Impasto method, so I'm not working with it. Remember this. Now, there was something which I made it in the beginning, so I just decided not to make it now. See, it's not important that you make everything which you see in that element, but it's important that you learn the right technique so that you can create good artwork and you can create your own. I'm just creating a yellow highlight here so that it creates more impact on the shaded region. This gives a beauty to the shadow, the differentiation between the highlight and the shaded region and the other things which are there. I have not used white till now. It's not that it's not allowed, it's about I don't have a habit of using white because I left white in the beginning. So I think that is sufficient for my realism still life. You can say object drawing. Whenever you're working with a single object, we call it object drawing. And whenever you're working with multiple things, it is known as still life. I'm just adding some beauty to the background with the same colors so that it looks good. You can see that how I'm trying to create some more depth when it comes to the object. Even you all can create these realistic artworks. It's not that difficult. Sorry, you all can see the artwork. So this was the demonstration, and the final output looks something like this. Okay, so this is the final output. That's it.